So what exactly is this agreement and why is it significant?
So simply put, this is a private agreement that was signed between the elected council at Six Nations of the Grand River and the property developer that wants to build a housing complex at Mackenzie Meadows in Caledonia, where we know there's currently a dispute and an occupation camp standing. So a good way to understand this agreement is to think back to the Wet'suwet'en dispute earlier in 2020. That was before the pandemic, if you can. And what we often heard during that dispute was that 5 out of 6 Wet'suwet'en elected band councils had signed on to support the pipeline. But what that really meant was that they had signed 5 impact benefit agreements, sometimes just called benefit agreements or mutual benefit agreements. Now, this one that Six Nations signed is called just a definitive agreement, but the elected council is calling it an accommodation or an accommodation agreement. And the reason why it's significant and important is that these agreements are usually private and confidential. They very rarely become public except for occasional leaks here and there. But this one became part of the public record when it was submitted in court as an exhibit by the developer in pursuit of an injunction, which allows us to see just exactly what both parties agreed to. And in many ways, some of these terms are quite eyebrow-raising. So the key here to kind of note is that the council agreed to publicly support the plan and the project, including public declarations of support to help quell any protests that might arise, and support the property developer in any legal actions that might arise coming out of any protest. So I think you could argue pretty strongly that could violate people's charter right to freedom of speech and freedom to protest.
So there's the elected leadership has this agreement with the land developer, is supportive of this development. On the other side, we have this small group of land defenders who are taking issue with this development. What sense do you get from that kind of majority of community members that are in the middle of all of this?
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly what the whole community thinks. You know, we are hearing that there were some consultations held. There was an open letter that was put out to the community from the people at the protest camp, which essentially said there was 6 total community consultations that took place from 2013 till 2018, prior to this agreement being inked in 2019. And the people at the camp claim that these were pretty poorly attended. I think they said 99 people total attended in total. And so also what we're hearing again from people at the camp is that their support might be pretty low, and that voter turnout is also usually pretty low when it comes to elections in the community. So as it is with the Wet'suwet'en, we're getting into an issue that touches on the Indian Acts Authority, who speaks for First Nations, and what a decolonized sovereign system might look like in the end. So these are very complex issues, and they're being played out in real time. So we're watching to see what happens as it develops. Well,
we're watching too. Thanks for joining us, and something we'll obviously be following here at APTN.
Thank you.